Welcome to the Level Up Your Band podcast, episode 22. Hello, and welcome back to the Level Up Your Band podcast. My name is Gavin Patterson, and I'm here with Julian Pombo.
Hi. I'm hiding my quarantine hair.
How's things with you?
It's fine. It's fine. I really want a haircut.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's really bad.
And
that's why I'm.
In what way?
You'll see me wearing a hat for the next couple. In that, it doesn't even. It looks like I've been in the wilderness and I've sort of been forgotten about. That's what my hair.
You pretty much have to be
It looks like. Yeah, I guess, but yeah, it's definitely it's my worst look so far, I think.
And
so
you've had pretty long hair before. This is the longest my hair's been in a long time. Definitely.
I mean, like when I had long hair, at least I had some kind of structure. This is like it's like a modern piece of art. My hair at the moment.
Yeah. I think.
Apart from that,
as of recording this, I think barbers and stuff are due to open like in a week's time, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be so busy, like queued out the door. Must be. I heard like they were opening up some shops, and I think it was Primark.
Pubs as
Primark was like queued for like a quarter mile.
Which I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand. Like, have people just been? Like, reason number one for that is that you can get clothes in supermarkets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can go to your Tesco and get clothes. So I don't.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
People need their Primark.
I really don't get it. People need their crappy sweatshop clothes.
Yeah,
it's just dumb.
Yeah. So, on to today's.
Sorry,
topic.
that got a bit dark and snarky there. Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah, today it was just an idea I had because it's about managerial software, which sounds really, really interesting. Not it was a thought I had because we've talked about this a lot of like what you can do to how to manage your band and what steps you need to take and all that. But I've never actually talked about the software individually and what you can download.
We constantly name drop it, but we don't actually
explain it. Yeah.
Explain what it is. We just go, oh yeah, doobie-doo.
Doobie-doo and doobie-da.
We just expect people to know.
So I think this would be a good episode 22, for people to look back and, what was the name of that software that we should be using for blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah. They can go back to this episode and go, right, okay, this is an episode dedicated to just talking about the individual softwares that you can download for any particular thing. So I'll kind of put it in an order of what you'll need. I think there's more we can add on to this. Actually, I'm going to add in one more while I'm here. That's a necessity. I just wrote in tuner metronome. That's a pretty good one if you're a musician. So we'll start at the beginning. So leveling up your band, assuming you're in a band, you need to schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who's been in a band longer than 10 minutes knows how much of a nightmare scheduling can be. So if you have a smartphone or any kind of device, you'll have an online calendar. Now, I know people personally that never use online calendars, and some of them are even younger than me. I'm not that old. And that's fine if you're really good at managing it, but all my stuff is all digital calendars, online calendars. So every time I get a booking in for a gig or studio date or whatever, it goes in my iPhone and then it syncs to my laptop, my PC, my iPad, and it sends me emails and notifications to remind me. And it's just really, it just fits my style. I like to just have instant access to it. Some people like an old-fashioned written diary, which is fine if you're good at keeping on top of it.
Yeah, I use both.
You use both, so that's quite good as well.
It's because, so I write things in the calendar, in my pen and paper calendar, or whatever it is, diary. Just because it's gonna sound stupid, but like the act of writing something in helps me remember it more.
Yeah.
A sort of it's very much like a. There's something about it where you write it in and it's almost like you have made a pact with that date, and that thing is happening and it's for definite. And
Makes
sometimes it can be, it makes a memory, and sometimes it can be a little bit quicker than, and a little bit easier to find than scrolling through a phone sometimes. So it totally depends. I would say go for both. It's nice to have a diary as well.
The reason I don't have a paper diary as well is because, well, outside of COVID, my diary is pretty full a lot of the time. I've got something on every single day. And my diary is, the studio runs on an online calendar. So I don't have to bother with getting dates from people. If someone's wanting to come in to record something, they don't have to ask me when I'm free. They have a link to a website that shows my availability and they can book themselves in, and then I get a notification and it creates automatically a date in my calendar and it blocks it out. If I had to write in a paper diary as well, I would spend my entire life writing up on the paper diary. It would drive me nuts. So that's why I don't have it.
Depends.
It's just too much work.
It depends on your situation.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you're on top of it. But there's something cool about Google Calendars. I use Google Calendars. It's a Google address, email address that connects it all up. So when someone books on my booking software, Calendly, it tells my Google Calendar to make an appointment in my diary, and then it syncs to all my devices, and it means that no one else can book that slot as well, including me. I can't book over the top of it. And the way it does that is it syncs to an account. So the way I would make this work for a band is if you have 5 people in your band and they all have iPhones or smartphones and they all have Google, make a Google account for your band. So, your band name at gmail.com or custom domain, whatever you have. And when a rehearsal is booked, this Saturday, 6 till 9, this place, you can write that up in your phone, sync it to the band's email address, and then everyone gets that in their calendar on their iPhone, so that if everyone's synced into their calendar, they all get the notifications. It's so simple to do, and if everyone's tapped into it, it just works. We do it for the wedding band. We have a common calendar for all our wedding dates, which is great, because sometimes I might miss one, and then I see that the band one, it's in red, it's in a different colour. So the studio stuff's in blue for me, and the wedding band's in red. And sometimes I'll see a red, and I haven't blocked out a blue one. I'm like, oh, I'm glad that was there because I would have forgotten that. Things like that.
Yeah.
So on the topic of scheduling, that's something you can do right now for free. and it's just a little bit
Yep.
helping to try and So Doodle. So
Ugh.
for trying to get people's availability for rehearsals, that is probably the biggest pain in the history of bands. Trying to get folk together into a recording studio or a rehearsal studio or just to meet up in general.
Yeah.
Getting people's availability. Doodle is free. It's
There are options.
there are other
I
options.
think I mean, there are options to pay extra, but I don't know what that gives you. I don't think it's anything super.
Yeah,
Amazing.
there's nothing. You can do all you need to do with Doodle for free. Create a Doodle account, link it up to your band's email, or the email that you use on your calendar, and you can make blocks. So say you need to book a rehearsal and the rehearsal studio you work at only does 3-hour blocks. Say the typical one is like 12 to 3, 3 till 6, 6 till 9, 9 till 12. So make blocks in your calendar, in the Doodle calendar, every single day. Make a block from 12 to 3, then 3 till 6, 6 till 9, and people can vote on which ones they are free for. So you've got, how many blocks is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks per day, and you can do it for like 2 weeks. So once you set it up, you can make a template and you can just run that every time you need to do it, and send a link to all your bandmates, and then they'll tick all the ones they're free for, and then Doodle will tell you which ones. There'll be ticks along a box, and the ones with the most ticks are the ones that you're going to book. So you can see, out of, I don't know, 30 entries, 6 entries, and 6 entries, every one is free. So we can book, phone up the studio and go, right, okay, we've got these slots that we are available for. Is there any space left? Again, it's free. You can use this software right now. It just makes your life so much simpler than texting people, phoning people, Facebook messages, groups, group chats where people don't reply, and just, nightmare. We started using it maybe about a year and a half ago, and it's just so good when you've been doing it the other way. So, moving on to content creation. So, this is something that, depending on what you're doing, you might not need some of these things, but I would say there's a couple on this list that you 100% need, definitely, without a doubt. So the first one I've got down here is DAW. We talked about that a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah, in the home recording.
So you don't necessarily need it, but it helps.
It's a useful thing.
Yeah, for doing like home demos or tracking, or just in general for songwriting purposes, or you name it. Just learning the software. So a recording software that allows you to record stuff, like Cubase or Pro Tools or Logic or whatever. The next two, I think these are quite important if you run a band, if you are managing your band: a photo editor and a video editor. And if you've never released content before, you might not see why that's important. And the reason why it is important is because when you start releasing content, you will be releasing huge amounts of video and photos on social media constantly. And it really helps to have a decent editor so that you can manage all this stuff. So, like we've done some lockdown videos just during COVID, and we've taken like footage of each individual player playing in their own houses, combined it together. And we've done that ourselves. We didn't need to go to any professional video editor or anything. We could do it ourselves because the technology's like there and free.
The thing about video editing is, it's really it's not a science. It's like so straightforward.
Yeah, the basics are,
when you think about it, the real basics. very, very easy.
Yeah,
So don't, yeah.
there's a learning curve like there is with anything, but
Mm-hmm.
to get a basic video. So when you record something on your phone, you've got the video footage from your phone, but say you want to record it using your DAW and get clean, nice audio, then you will need a video editor to combine those two mediums together. So that's where a video editor comes in. So the photo editor, like Photoshop or something, comes in handy if you are making your own posters or designing your own logo. I mean, most people get graphic designers to do this for them, but say you have a logo that's all designed, you've got all the formats and stuff, but you need to apply it to an image that you took of the band or from another photographer, and you don't have the facilities to do that. And literally all you need to do is just go take logo and go onto a poster or onto some existing thing. You shouldn't need to phone up a graphic designer just so that they can copy and drag a logo on and then export. You can do that yourself really easily. There's silly things like on photo editors that need done that take like 5 minutes. I'm constantly doing stuff for the band, the studio, just all the different bits, even the podcast. And you think, oh, just these tiny, silly, stupid little things like putting a black box underneath text so that it doesn't get washed out and you can't read it over the top of the image, things like that. Stuff that takes like 2 minutes that you can't phone up a graphic designer every time you need to put a see-through black box behind some text. It's, you know what I mean? Learn how to do this stuff yourself.
So what is it you use for your photo editing?
I use Photoshop.
I don't think I've asked you that. You use Photoshop.
And I use...
that's like a subscription...
Yeah, it's Adobe. Adobe have this... I can't remember what it's called. It's like Adobe... I can't remember the name. And
Spark?
It's like a central hub, and they have lots of different softwares attached to that. They have... Is it Audition for the DAW stuff? They have all these different...
it's called Adobe... I think the one you're talking about is Adobe Spark.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Pretty sure, because it's like it's a hub with like loads of like different things that you can make. Like it's like video stuff and graphics stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it's a condensed thing that just has everything.
I mean, you don't need that. You can get some simple photo editors. I mean, some of them are built into your computer just natively.
Yep.
And video editing, I use Sony Vegas. What do you use?
I use a hot piece of garbage, but it's called Movavi for the reasons that I got it. It's totally fine. Let me put it this way: you're not going to be able to make really sick memes on it. It's very basic, but does the job.
No memes.
No, you can't. Yeah, you can't make. But that's fine.
I think you can do very minimal research and find alternatives. Photo editors, video editors that are very good and will do the job that you need it to do. If you need anything done extremely technical and something beyond your reach, then that's when you call in a graphic designer. But if it's something really, really simple, like, I don't know, just copying and pasting an image with some text that will only take 15 minutes, then there's no reason why you can't do it yourself. Yeah. So moving on, we added one in. You added this in for content creation. This kind of goes for more maybe classical based or jazz based kind of people's.
Anybody that works with actual written music, really. So Sibelius / Muse Score. Out of those two,
you can put Guitar Pro in there as well.
Yeah, tabs and stuff.
Tabs, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Never mind. I'll just get rid of that. But yeah, so I've never used Guitar Pro because I don't work in the medium of tabs at all.
Yeah.
But out of those two, get MuseScore because it's free.
Oh, okay.
And
I have Sibelius.
it is
It's terrible.
it's just as good as Sibelius. The only reason I use Sibelius is because that's what I learned and I
Same.
know it now, and it's just one of those things where it's really annoying, like because I know it so well. I've tried to use MuseScore before.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, now I have so much time that I could just take the time to sort of just sit and learn it.
Yeah.
Because MuseScore is actually a lot better.
It wouldn't be hard. Sibelius is absolutely dreadful.
There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do in MuseScore, like because it's also like there's also like a sort of like a hub kind of there's like a sort of not quite a social media kind of thing, but like a score sharing thing on their website as well. So basically, what you can do is if you've written up an arrangement or something, and you're like, oh, I think this is really cool, you can upload it onto MuseScore and people can, download it and you can share your music like that, So it's definitely a good idea, especially if you're the kind of player that maybe, transcribes things or whatever. You can be like, oh, if you put up a video, you can be like, if you like this transcription, I've put it up on MuseScore and you can download it.
Yep. Yep. I was using Sibelius the other day actually, because I was saying like, oh, Sibelius is kind of more for classical or jazz based. Well, in my case, because I run a studio, I use it for everything really. So I had a band in a couple of years ago, and it's just a kind of rock band, 2 guitars, vocals, drums, bass. And they wanted a string quintet. They wanted to get in a string quintet to play on their music. So I had to do the George Martin thing, and I took the piece of music that they have and wrote a string line, a string sort of part for the quintet to play on Sibelius, and printed out all the sheet music so that when they came in on the day, because obviously instruments like that, classical instruments, they need music to read. They can't just, oh, it's in G. Just
classical musicians,
yeah, they need music to actually play. So I had to print it all out, make sure it was there on the day on their music stand, and I had to conduct them as well as running the session. I had to. At first, I set them all up with headphones and stuff and gave them a click track, but that just means nothing to them. They've never had that before, so they had to have a conductor in front of them, showing them the time. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I tried a couple of takes and they just were not staying in time at all. So I was like, would it help if I conducted?
Yes,
and they were like, yes, please. So I had to. So that Sibelius really helped.
That's mad.
That. Yeah.
That's really mad.
And if you've used Sibelius in high school and you really know how to write out stuff in Sibelius, you can use that and then export the dots, the music notes, and export them into MIDI, and then bringing them into your DAW and then trigger a synth or something.
Yeah, I've used that. I've done that quite a lot.
Yep.
Because writing MIDI stuff on the MIDI editor on my DAW is just terrible.
Yeah.
It's really bad. And it's just much quicker to just have Sibelius open.
Yeah.
I can just type out what it is I want.
Yeah.
And then you can just bung it in, manipulate it, put it on whatever instrument you like.
It's great.
It's really good.
And there was one last thing on content creation, which everyone should have, is a tuner on your phone.
Yeah.
An app. And a metronome app.
There's no excuse.
Oh, yeah, that's just like 101. Get that. Yeah. Get that.
The tuner, if you can, I would actually spend money on a tuner, either a pedal or a clip-on or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Along those lines. But to begin with, like even like with my students, for example, I'm like, they're like, I'm saying to them like, oh, why don't you practice on, you need to practice with a metronome. and they're like, oh, well, I don't know, I need to ask my mom if I can get one. I'm like, you don't need to ask your mom because you can just download one for free.
Yeah.
Stop coming up with weird excuses,
Yeah, it's
child.
strange. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I've had drummers who have never played to metronomes before, ever. They've been playing for 10 years or whatever and have never practiced a metronome. And it shows.
Yeah.
It can show.
A good metronome. Sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent, but a really good metronome exercise. This is a jazz thing. Is that because we tend to feel we don't focus on 1 and 3. It's 2 and 4. It's where the emphasis is on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to practice with a metronome, going click and click and click and click like on the 2 and 4, because it's it's just it's a good little thing to do.
Yeah, totally. So moving on to the next
shifts your brain.
section, file management. So we've got a couple of things in here. I don't think to do with bands. I don't think there's any more than these two. So number one, this piece of software is it's just an amazing piece of software. It's called Backblaze. And it's amazing how many people don't know about this.
I think you mentioned it once or twice to me before.
Yeah.
I think you showed it to me actually when I was in your studio, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah. Before I heard about Backblaze, because I record a lot of audio. I think I've got something like 2 terabytes worth of audio alone, just from recorded audio. It's a lot of work. Maybe 10 years of recordings on my computer. In the past, if my studio went up in flames, all of that work would be gone. And that's not good. So about maybe a year into recording, I was like, I'm getting quite a lot of recordings and sessions and just software and things that I can't really afford to lose. So what I'll do is I'll invest in an external hard drive, and once a week or once every 2 weeks, I'll back everything up to a hard drive and then keep the hard drive in the house so that if the studio goes up in flames, I've got a backup. And I worked.
It's like your little black box, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked that way for years, maybe 5-6 years, and it got harder and harder to do because it was taking 6 hours roughly to transfer all that stuff across. Each time, and I was like, oh, there must be an alternative. And then I discovered this program called Backblaze, and for I think £50 a year, you go onto Backblaze on their website and you download their software, pay the £50. I think the first month's free, and it sits there in the background and it backs up your entire computer to the internet with no limit. You can upload as much as you want for £50 a year, and all your external hard drives. So you can have an external hard drive in every USB port in your computer, and it doesn't matter what's on it, it will back it all up, every single bit. So I think currently at the moment, I've got my C drive, which is a solid state drive on my computer, which is backed up. I've got a D drive, which is a slightly bigger drive on my computer, which is all backed up. And I've got 3 external hard drives, which are all backed up. I think total is like 5 terabytes of data backed up for £50 a year. So if my studio went kaboom, I could get another rig and then email Backblaze saying I need my data, and they will post all my data out on an external hard drive in the mail, and I can take all the stuff off the hard drive they send me, put it onto my system, and then if I mail the hard drive back to them, that service is free. It's included in the £50 a year. And you don't have to constantly, with Dropbox, you have to constantly re-sign in because it signs you out every 5 minutes, and it never backs up properly. There's a problem with storage, blah, blah, blah. Backblaze never has any problem. It just always works. It's always in the background. You don't even notice it. And Everything's all secure and safe. You can access it from your mobile phone, so you can access any file from your computer just on the Backblaze app on your phone. So say someone's like, oh, can you send me that image of the logo for the band? You can just, if you're out, you can just go on your phone, find it in your computer files from your phone, download it to your phone, and then send it on WhatsApp or Messenger or whatever. It is so good. I recommend anyone who is creating content and wants to back up stuff, get it. It's an absolute no-brainer. £50 a year is nothing. It's so cheap. Just get it. Get
especially
it
when
right
you
now.
compare it to like everything else you're paying for. Netflix, your phone.
Oh, it's nothing. It's cheaper than Netflix. It's cheaper than Netflix, and you're backing up your entire computer, every single bit of it, with no limits. There's no excuse nowadays for losing files, or the amount of horror stories I've heard of people losing stuff. Backblaze would cover all of that. So the second part, file sharing. Now, I just mentioned a little bit there of the nightmare that is file sharing between band members. So the person who's managing the email is emailing back and forth with a venue who need the posters for the gig. And they don't have it. They are asking you for the posters. You're out. You're at the pub. Assuming this is not under lockdown.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You're socially distancing in the pub.
Yeah. I can't send you that poster just now. Oh, I'll need to wait till I go home. Oh, I can't wait. Blah blah blah. So I've said this before. A central bank, a central place where you can have all your band related materials. So a OneDrive account, a Google Drive account, a Dropbox account. Heaven forbid.
Yes. None of that WeTransfer nonsense.
No, it's something that is a common account. So like yourband@gmail.com or whatever, Google Drive, and it's got all the stuff. So your logo, your album artwork, your poster artwork, your entire music, MP3 and WAV, any videos, YouTube videos or uploads, just all the content that you create on one single place, so that every member has access to it. So the person who manages social media can get to it. The person who does all the emails can get access to it. The person who manages the website can get access to it without constantly having to phone up people and message people. Oh, can you send me across that? Oh, they forgot. It's 5 days later. Come on, I need to do blah, 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 blah. It just saves so much time. That's, that's just like, it's a game changer, that. So then we're getting on to just general online management. So that's dealing with your audience. We touched on that on a few episodes ago about how to manage an audience, how to manage a growing audience. So I've got number one here is a CRM. I don't know if you've ever heard of CRM software.
No.
I get
This stuff is totally, well, apart from like Spotify Artists, Google Analytics, and Squarespace, I'm like, this is all new to me.
Yeah, I get CRM adverts on YouTube videos virtually every day. A CRM is a customer relationship management software. So what it is, it sounds really not sexy at all. If you are doing
very clinical,
if you're doing emails with clients or people who want to buy T-shirts off you, it maybe not such a big thing if you're maybe selling like 5 a month or less. You can just do it on Gmail. So you go on Gmail, you get a notification, want to buy a T-shirt, you just deal with it on Gmail and it's fine. But a CRM, what if you're dealing with, say your band's signed and you're selling like 100 between 100 and 500 T-shirts a month or something. That's a lot of orders to try and cope with if you're doing it yourself. If you're a manager and you're trying to do this yourself. A CRM is a piece of software that links to your email, your Facebook Messenger, your Instagram Messenger, WhatsApp, calls, texts. It all comes to this one piece of software, And when a new booking comes in, or a new client comes in, or someone who is inquiring, or a new member on your site, it comes through this, and you have all the details of them. So their first name, their last name, their mobile phone, their email, and their past things they've done. So on the 22nd of May, they signed up for the newsletter. On the 4th of June, they ordered a t-shirt. And you can have every stage of that person's life mapped out on a CRM, so you know exactly where they're at with you. It's customer relationship management. So it's your relationship to that customer and all the details, rather than, oh, who's this person again? They've emailed a few times. I can't try and remember the name. And then you're searching through Gmail. Oh, there's nothing there. Oh, maybe it was WhatsApp. Oh, I'll check there. So this is a central hub to help manage a huge flow of traffic. And it keeps things a lot tidier. If you're dealing with huge numbers, like 1,000 inquiries a month to do with t-shirts or merch or tickets or, PayPal related issues, we sent a payment and we didn't get blah, 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 refunds and all this rubbish. You need a CRM for that, to help manage all that.
I have lost you.
Oh, we've lost signal. That's not good. I'll keep talking while you try and get your signal back.
Right.
So
I'm just gonna sit here.
Like if you're only selling five t-shirts a month, and it's via your online store or your website, you can basically just do this without a CRM. You can just do it on Gmail and it's not a problem. But if you're dealing with big numbers, I would recommend a CRM. Right. Moving on to the second part. So we've done CRM, customer relationship management. Next one you might not have seen or heard before, Zapier. Zapier it doesn't actually do anything itself.
All right.
in the sense it doesn't actually...
I don't know if you heard that. Like, sorry, the cats are fighting in the background. I'm so sorry. My internet keeps cutting out. The house is chaotic.
It's pure genius, according to your mug. He's holding a mug that says pure genius. It's better than the pug mug.
I got this. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I got that for when I graduated. I graduated with a 2.2, so I don't know. I'm not so sure about pure genius.
Kind of genius.
Average genius.
So Zapier is a software that doesn't actually do anything itself. What it does is it connects apps together. So, for example, if your website is on Squarespace or Wix or WordPress or whatever, and you have a contact form that is like name, first name, surname, and subject, email address, phone number, blah, 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 blah. It takes all those fields. It can do, this is what Zapier can do. It can do many, many, many things. It can take the information from that form and it can deliver it to your CRM and populate the fields in a CRM. So when you go into your customer relationship management software, you can create a new profile for a customer and you have to type in their first name, their second name, their blah, 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 blah. Zapier can fill in all those fields automatically without you doing anything. It can also connect things like Google Analytics to your CRM. It can take information from Google Analytics. It can take information from your own website data and then write it up into a spreadsheet automatically and deliver it to you and email it to you. It can do multi-step things. So it can take a file. So say you give someone a link to Dropbox and then they put something in the Dropbox and you can set up Zapier to send you a notification when that has occurred, or you can link a Dropbox account to your Squarespace. So when someone clicks on a button on your website to maybe download these, download this free software, or download this link to download our album, Zapier can connect Squarespace to Dropbox or your Google Drive or an external thing, and it basically just connects it all together and makes it more fluid. If you're doing sort of more advanced stuff that where you have a much larger audience and larger numbers, it saves you time. That's basically what the app does. It just saves you going back and forward. Like going from one app to another app and doing it manually. All this stuff happens automatically. That's what it does. If you're getting a little bit more serious and there's some serious numbers coming into your media, Zapier is a really good one to have a look at, and they help you like custom make zaps, and it links up to like your email, your website. It's just really cool. I've got written down here Squarespace and Wix and WordPress and all that, which is just your part of your online management. That's just like your website. Where do you host your website? Where do you build your website? We've talked about that before. We don't really need to go through that. Next one, Spotify Artist. If your stuff is on Spotify, if your music is on Spotify, you want to be able to track how many people are listening to your Spotify, what your monthly listens, what's their demographics, all that. You can download an app on your phone called Spotify Artist. You can get access to your artist page, and you can get all the metrics.
Yep.
You can get and you can compare your metrics to other bands. So if you have a band that is in post-punk, and your friend's band or a band that you look up to in your scene is also post-punk, you can type in their name into a search bar and compare their stats with your own. And it gives you metrics on how well you do after releases, because you'll see peaks and spikes on when you release something. You'll get a big spike of listens, and then it'll teeter away, and then maybe you do a tour and it'll go up. And it's a good metric to have, combined with Google Analytics, which is what we've got next on the list. Google Analytics is something that you can connect up to your website for free, and it gives you metrics on your traffic to your website. That combined with Spotify Artist, you can get a really good gauge of how you're doing online with all your different content that you release, as well as Facebook have one as well, just general metrics on Facebook on how your post engagement is, and all this stuff can get connected together. And it's good to have all this stuff connected, downloaded, installed quite early on, for the reason of just knowing how you're doing, because there's not much point in doing this and without knowing how you're doing. It's kind of like operating in the dark, or driving a car with no headlights. You can, if you can only see like 2 foot in front of your face, that's not helpful. You need to see the metrics, the stats, the work that you're putting in. Is this making a difference? Is releasing content on Spotify once every 2 weeks better than releasing once every 6 months? Well, you can see, if you have the actual analytics, the actual data to see the audience flow. You need to know, this is stuff that you need to know about. So get it installed, get it downloaded. If you don't know how to do it, YouTube tutorial, you'll do it in 5 minutes, easy, and it's all free. And it just gives you another little bit of like metrics on how you're doing online. That's what I would recommend. Is there any ones on that you would add? I don't think. There's maybe the Facebook one. I kind of mentioned that. It's just kind of comes with Facebook. So next one is sales management. We've talked about this before. There's a company we use that does card readers. So it's a card reader connected to an online account. It's called
it's great.
iZettle. So contactless payments, chip and pin. You can take it to gigs. It's tiny. It's like £30, and you've got card access right there. But we constantly go on about this, but it's really great. That's iZettle. It's like an IZETTLE. Next one, Stripe. If you're doing any online payments for merch at all, there's a company called Stripe which handle all the payments. So when someone buys something on your website, the money that they pay goes to your Stripe account. So they buy a t-shirt on your Squarespace or your Wix website, and the money that comes in goes to your Stripe account, and then you connect your Stripe account to your bank account, and Stripe take a 5% cut or something. And you can connect your iZettle account to your Stripe account as well. That's where you take all your money.
Cool.
I think PayPal do it as well. Another one is Big Cartel. I think lots of people have heard of Big Cartel. You can sell tickets and merch and stuff on Big Cartel. You can also do this on your website, so it's just an extra option.
Yeah.
And lastly, this is a big one. Banking. If that was banking, by the way, for managerial software, this is quite an important one. So, just as well as having your normal banking apps, because if you've got a band bank account, you want to get access to your band bank to see how you're doing. I recommend QuickBooks. Because if you're registered as a...
Yeah, I use QuickBooks too. It's great.
If your band is registered as a business or, depending on how you do it, like if it's a partnership or a sole trader or however it's done in your country, in Britain, you have to, if you're earning over a certain amount, you have to pay tax and stuff. So you have to register your band as an actual business that is making money. So that you can pay tax and operate legally. Because if you're selling merch and stuff like that, you need to have VAT and all this nonsense. So if you're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of ticket sales, paying musicians, paying venues, merch, online sales, you've got your monthly subscriptions for your CRM, your Squarespace, you've got your royalty stuff from Spotify and your all that side as well. All these monthly things coming off. You need a central bank account, and trying to manage all that stuff, you need help with that. QuickBooks, basically, it does your bookkeeping, your tax bookkeeping automatically almost. It's really, really seamless, and it means that you don't have to sit down and do it by hand at the last minute. When at the deadline when it's like Christmas time, so it does it through the year, and then you connect up all your receipts and invoices and stuff, and you can just attach them to each transaction in QuickBooks. I recommend looking into that. It's relatively inexpensive, and it saves you a bunch of time. Wow, that was a pretty big list. So I'll just run through just at the end here. So first part was scheduling. So I mentioned Google Calendars and Doodle for scheduling rehearsals. Content creation was your DAW like Pro Tools or Cubase or whatever. Photo editor, video editor, Sibelius MuseScore, so that's for written music, and your tuner and your metronome. File management, that was Backblaze, that's for backing up all your computer to the online. And then file sharing between band members, that's like OneDrive, Google Drive, a central hub where you can access all your band's stuff, so you don't have to ask everyone every time you want stuff to post. Online management, that's your CRM, your customer relationship management software, central hub for all your interactions with an audience, which I would recommend if you're dealing with a large audience, a large amount of people. Zapier, which is a website that connects all your online apps together, just makes things quicker and easier and automatic. Your hosting, your website hosting like Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, that's a another one. Spotify Artist, which is how you measure your metrics and look at your metrics on Spotify. And Google Analytics, which handles all your metrics for your website. Sales Management, which I wrote down, iZettle for your contactless card reader thing. Stripe for all your money online, money transactions online. Big Cartel for ticket sales, merch as well, if you don't want to do it on your website. And then finally, banking, just your banking apps so that you can see how much money you've got in your account right now. It's just a no-brainer, just so you can see how you're doing. And QuickBooks to handle your tax returns and stuff.
Yeah.
When it comes time. So that's the whole list. I don't think there's any more. Can you think of any more, Gillian, that we'd add in?
I don't think so at the moment. I'm sorry if I've not been talking much. There's the internet on my end is an absolute, it's awful.
Yeah, there's like a 10-second delay here.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it would be a good idea to have an episode just talking about the individual softwares. And honestly, if you've listened to this and you haven't got some of these, a lot of this stuff I was talking about is free. Go out and get it right now. If you've got a band and you're managing a band and you've got, a good amount of people interested in your stuff, I would highly recommend you get some of this. And for those of you who are maybe up and coming and are expecting huge amounts of people, say you're going on tour, if you don't have this stuff set up now, it's much harder to set it up once the numbers start piling in. I'm just speaking from experience. If you don't have like a good system set up, if once the people start like making bookings and making purchases on your website or purchasing tickets, trying to deal with that amount of traffic without a system is like, it's a nightmare, absolute nightmare. So just get it all set up as if you are, it needs to be scalable, it's just not scalable if you're just working on just your telephone or texting, or it's just, you'd be swamped. You'd be working on this constantly. So it's cool to have some software to help you get through it, especially if you don't have a manager working for you. We've talked about before how you can do a lot to manage your own band and use technology to help you, because you're not going to be doing this all the time. You're not going to be managing the band 100% of the time. You want to be in your band and doing the music. So if you can get software to help you do it, and then when it becomes far too overwhelming, if you become so busy and you're constantly, even with the help of software, you're like, I can't cope with this, then it's time to get a manager to do it for you full time. That's kind of how I would like, that's how I think this stuff would help. It's just making things easier for you. So unless there's anything you want to add, I know there's a huge internet delay.
No.
Oh, it's back. Oh, there's no delay now. That's weird. Yeah. Get good internet. Put that as a.
No. Listen. Yeah, I'm. This is hopefully for next week. I'll have good internet. We'll see.
That'll be fun. That'll be exciting.
Well, we'll see.
It's annoying.
Ugh.
For the longest time, I didn't have fast internet where I live, and then we got mobile broadband. That's the only thing. Currently, that's all I have is mobile broadband, and
which is what I have as well.
Yeah. So
it's actually like technically it's supposed to be faster, but it's the little router that I use. It's no good.
Yeah. Cool. So that was quite a long one, actually. That's pretty much everything we wanted to say on that. Again, if there's anything you are unsure about, because there's a lot of technical stuff in today's episode, if there's anything you're not sure about or need help with, send us a message. We are Level Up Your Band on Instagram, Facebook, and we have our website, it's levelupurband.com. There's a little contact form at the bottom. You can send us a message, and we'll get back to you if you have any questions or concerns. And if you're listening on the Apple Podcasts, please give us a wee 5-star. That really helps get us up in the algorithms and stuff. And tell your mates. We are releasing content every
Follow us on Spotify or
every
whatever.
Wednesday. We
Subscribe to
do
YouTube.
this. Yeah, subscribe. We have a YouTube channel as well. I know it's a podcast, but we release the audio and the video together on YouTube. So that's everything I wanted to say on that. So next week we've got some things planned in the next couple of weeks. I can't remember. Potentially,
Yeah, we got an interview.
another interview to do. Yeah, so it should be good.
Towards the end of the month, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm enjoying these interviews. We'll definitely be doing more of them. So we'll wrap up there. Thanks for listening again.
I hope the listeners are enjoying them as well.
Yeah. If you're not, let us know. Yeah, hope we're all doing well and coming out of lockdown safely and all that. And we'll see you all next week. So bye.